First, Coach, I got another question. What do you think about the release, him taping the conversation, him and his agent, and then putting it out there? Now, he's gone to Oakland, signed an extension. Answer that part first before you get to Tom Brady and his weapons and
that
whatever
part
she
is amazing.
That's what I'd rather have.
It's amazing. And look, it should be a signal to everybody that any conversation could easily become a very public conversation, and any interaction could very easily become a public interaction. And
basically, Antonio's made it clear the last few years, anytime you speak with him, it might be being live streamed or recorded. And I'm sure, I don't know what the two-party consent as far as like wiretap and as far as recording laws were in the states he was in, but I feel like this was probably a crime. I don't think
it seems like based on something else that happened New England related, you must have permission from two parties to be.
record.
I heard that. Yeah, that's part of another case.
You have to start getting those things that you wire,
you want them. Yeah, absolutely.
To see whether or not you're being. Yeah, that's not good business. When I thought about this question, to me, extending Tom Brady's career is going to start inside out as opposed to outside in. They've got to replace the left tackle. They've got to have a consistent and diverse running game. They've got to figure out what they're going to do with Gronkowski. And as we talked about yesterday, that may not be a one-person answer, and it probably won't be because it's hard to find a guy like that. So it's a set of packages. And then the slot receiver has always been the core of the New England offense. Then you push out. Now, that being said, having a guy like Randy Moss was a game changer for New England. Having someone that was that special a talent where teams had to constantly game plan for what he did created so many different opportunities for everything that traditionally had been so successful for New England inside out. So I see why they're looking for that spot. They're probably not going to get it in the draft. They're not going to go receiver first round. They haven't done that. So to look for it in free agency makes a lot of sense, and they've had success with that.
And listen, Odell's not Randy. I get that. Odell, you mentioned before the show, Odell's a great athlete. Randy was an amazing athlete. 6 inches taller than Odell Beckham.
Yes.
Faster than Odell Beckham, and can jump higher than Odell Beckham. And so Randy had all the measurable, Randy would have been a spectacular athlete at 5'10", but he was 6'4.5" within basketball players' vertical leap. So I know he's not Randy, but what would Odell have done for this offense? What type of effect would it have? What trickle-down effect? Set aside any of the off-the-field stuff.
Look, I know you love Odell. I'd rather have Antonio Brown. I mean, personally, I think that Antonio Brown is when you look at those two players, Antonio Brown is such a huge threat, such a dynamic player, a threat outside, inside. Trying to defend against him was always ridiculously challenging.
The reason I brought up Odell instead of AB was because I don't think AB was ever on the board for them. Because Pittsburgh wasn't going to trade him to New England, and New England wasn't going to give him this extension.
And contract demand.
Yeah, I get that. I'm just saying in terms of impact on the system, I don't know how Odell would fit because I don't know how he fits in the locker room. I don't know how he fits within the scheme. I'm not sure. Does he run the right routes on a consistent basis? Because here's how it works in New England. If you run the right route and you get open, you get the ball. It doesn't matter if you're Odell Beckham, Randy Moss, Wes Welker, Troy Brown, take your pick. If you run the right route and get open and are in the right spot, you're going to get the ball. So it doesn't matter who you are. Will Odell do that? Does he do that? I don't know those things about him. What type of impact does he have in that locker room? Because you need to fit in when you go there. Regardless of how many stars you think are on your chest, that doesn't matter. You are a soldier, and you need to fit in.
Well, let's look at the Drew Brees model and what they're doing in New Orleans. The last couple years, the team has changed. It got better on the defensive side, but they've done it from the inside out. Had a two-back system the last couple years, got far more physical. Last year, weren't as dynamic, didn't have as many three receiver sets as they had in the past, and that has extended Drew Brees. Now, Michael Thomas, he's been special. Kamara, he's been special, but they changed how they were functioning. I like the fact that you said New England, if they're going to extend Tom Brady's career, it's not going to be a wide receiver. Wide receivers can make the game easier, but they don't make a quarterback play longer. Being able to protect them and having a running game, they make the game more comfortable for them.
Which they did last year, which they started to do last year.
Absolutely. So when you have that, when I can come back out of the 65 plays and I can hand it to a guy 30 times, or I can throw it short to guys in their system, which they're doing, that makes the game easier. Peyton Manning, why did he leave the game? He got knocked out of the game. He couldn't play anymore. He couldn't play at a high level. And most of the elite quarterbacks that we have seen, man, they didn't volunteer to quit. They got knocked out of the game. So you need to be able to protect him through the interior part, which I told you the most valuable players they have on that offense is the center and the two guards, and to have Sony Michel, a young running back who they can put a lot of carries on.
And I think Drew Brees is a great example because that transition that they made has helped him so much. And the volume that he was getting hit for a while, where he was dropping back as much as he was, where they were trying to throw down the field as much as they did, he was getting hit at a rate where it was just a matter of time before
he was knocked out.
He was knocked out. And the transition, I think, is fantastic there.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.